Most people, when they see these cars from the dawn of the motoring era, early 1900s up to 1930, they reckon, wow, what great pieces of antiquity. But what do you do with them? They probably spend most of their time in a museum. Well, the guys from the Ford Model T Club and the associates and friends have different ideas about that. I'm here with Philip Kushka, and he's the organizer of the very first Ford Veteran and Vintage Tour in the Southern Cape, and that's in 2018. Philip, how did this whole thing come about?
We've just formed a new club in South Africa, the Model T Ford Club of South Africa, and we thought it good to organize a Ford Vintage and Veteran Tour.
Daz, you're a guy that comes all the way from KZN. What made you come so far for this Model T run?
I just have a love for the vintage cars. It was my first tour. I've always been playing with the idea of taking part in a tour. When I got the car, I was scared to drive it. A few guys from the clubs have taught me how to drive them. Eventually it gave me the confidence, and they said the car is good to go on the tour. We registered, and here we are at the tour. Really enjoying it.
And the whole operation of Model T, not the same as a normal car.
Driving the Model T is crazy. It's a totally different learning experience. There's no clutch. You have two gears, accelerator is a lever, your advance and your retard is also a lever on the right hand side. So it's a long learning experience, but it's been good.
Avish, how's it been as a navigator?
It's been excellent. Me, generally, I'm more of a Mercedes man, but I've been very impressed with the Model Ts. I mean, for a car that's almost 100 years old, to do the kind of mileage that you're doing in the conditions that you're doing, it's amazing for these kinds of vehicles.
There's two milestones also involved, because the Model T Ford is 110 years old and the Model A Ford is 90 years old. So if you combine those two, it's 200 years. So we always look forward to celebrate something, and that is why we organized this inaugural run for the Model T Ford Club of South Africa.
What is this car called, and what makes it so special?
This car is a Model S Ford, which is the predecessor of the Model T. They made the N, R and S cars consecutively, Henry Ford, and the three cars really formed the basis of the Model T. So they all have features that are rather special and have made the Model T the great car that it was. Despite the heat, it travels well, and it can manage the hills. Even being 110 years old, it is fine, and it goes very well. You have to check all its vitals first, make sure there's enough water, of course, in the radiator and the fuel and things. Starting with a crank and just getting it going, just gentling the thing along is quite something.
You were expecting, I believe, 30 entries, and you really had a big, pleasant surprise in that respect.
Yeah, we're pleased, Stuart. It's absolutely wonderful to see 52 vintage and veteran cars here. You know, some of these cars here are the only ones in existence. 1907 Nordenfeld. Brilliant to have that car.
This is a very rare car, isn't it?
Well, it's seemingly the only one in the world. I'm not sure. I've looked for others. I've gone to Bewley Manor Museum in the UK. I've seen pictures of two others, but that's it.
There's a very interesting story about this car, particularly its radiator. Tell us about that, Nick.
Well, the radiator was stolen off the front porch of some guy in Cape Town. It was a long story to try. The insurance wouldn't pay for the car to go back to the UK to repair the radiator.
and luckily found a gentleman in Cape Town who made one from scratch using just pictures that they had.
I'm here at the Oudtshoorn Inn with Kevin Casey. He's come all the way from Harrismith actually, and I'm with his 1910 Talbot. There's an interesting background with Talbot, Kevin, because I was associated with a French manufacturer. Tell us about that.
Talbot was originally made in England under license to Clement in France, but that was between 1903 1904, but by about 1908 it was pretty much a British design. And although there was still a factory in France, the design wasn't the same anymore.
Now I believe this car has a very long heritage, this particular car, in South Africa.
Yes, it was ordered as a wedding present for a member of the Cloete family, E.B. Cloete, I don't know the name, in late 1912. It was then bought by a very well-known collector in South Africa, O.D. Ings, and followed in the early 60s by Koffie van der Walt, also a very well-known collector of cars.
It's been a pretty tough route, and was that part of the whole planning? Do you like to set a challenge for these old cars?
We thought it's going to be challenging, but we didn't think it's going to be that challenging. We went through Huisrivier Pass yesterday twice, and we lost 2 cars there. We did the Robinson Pass on day 1, and it also took 2 cars out of the run. But again, it's not that challenging. It's just that you need to think that these cars are 110 plus years old, so you can expect anything.
How have you enjoyed the tour as being part of the Ford Model T tour?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. The only reason why they asked me is because I also only have rear wheel brakes, so that was it. But look, the Model Ts are very special.
Beautiful tour, lovely community. I mean, it's my first experience with the vintage and veteran car club community, but really warm guys.
For me, it's been a wonderful experience. The fact that the older cars are coming out and being used and enjoyed, which is something that's been neglected of recent times. And it's nice to see that this has come to life again, and long may it continue.